Let's talk about a feeling you probably know well. You have a project to finish, a goal you want to achieve, a life you want to build. You know what you should be doing, but you just can't bring yourself to do it. You scroll through your phone, you binge watch another series. You do anything to avoid the task at hand. And then the guilt kicks in. You call it laziness. You call it a lack of discipline. You tell yourself you're just unmotivated. But what if the problem isn't a lack of drive? What if it's an overdose of distraction? What if your motivation hasn't vanished? It's just been buried under an avalanche of meaningless noise. This isn't a new idea. It's a profound truth understood by one of the 20th century's greatest psychological minds, Viktor Frankl. Frankl discovered a fundamental secret about human motivation. It's not pleasure, comfort, or even freedom that keeps us going. It's meaning. Today, we're going to use Frankl's timeless wisdom as a lens to look at our modern lives. We'll explore how our hyper-stimulated world is silently killing our ability to find purpose, and why the things we try so hard to avoid, boredom, silence, and discomfort, are the very keys to getting our motivation back. If you've ever felt drained, distracted, and stuck, this is for you, because you're not broken. You're just full. Part 1. How easy pleasure kills real motivation. Our minds were not built for the world we live in. For thousands of years, the human brain evolved in an environment of natural cycles. Periods of intense focus followed by rest, of social connection followed by solitude. Dopamine, the brain's motivation molecule, was released when we achieved something difficult and meaningful. A successful hunt, a finished project, a deep connection. But in the last 2 decades, something has changed. We've created a world of artificial, low-grade, constant stimulation. A like on social media, a tiny spike of dopamine, a funny 15-second video, another tiny spike, a news alert, another one. We spend our days on a digital dopamine drip feed. We scroll through endless feeds, not because we're interested, but because we can't stand the silence. We binge watch shows not to be moved, but to escape our own thoughts. The psychology here is simple, but devastating. Your brain's reward system is being hijacked. It's like feeding a child nothing but candy. The more cheap, sugary hits it gets, the less it craves a real, nutritious meal. In the same way, the more your brain is exposed to easy, artificial pleasure, the less it values deep, meaningful satisfaction. A meaningful conversation starts to feel like too much work. Reading a book feels slow and boring. A quiet walk in nature feels pointless. Why? Because none of these things provide the instant, high-frequency jolt your brain has become addicted to. This is the invisible root of modern demotivation. It's not that you've lost your will to meaning, as Frankl would say. It's that your will is being drowned out by a constant stream of meaningless, pleasurable noise. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard wrote that the greatest form of despair is to be distracted from oneself. Our technology, designed to connect us, has become the ultimate tool for this kind of distraction. It's in the silence, in the moments between the stimuli, that the big questions of life emerge. What am I doing? Is this all there is? What truly matters to me? And it's precisely those questions that our overstimulated minds are now terrified to face. Part 2. Why you can't think straight. So what happens to a mind that never rests? A mind that is never allowed to be bored? It doesn't get stronger. It gets fragmented. An overstimulated mind doesn't think. It merely reacts. It doesn't contemplate. It consumes. Over time, this constant reaction mode erodes our most precious ability, the power to reflect. Reflection isn't just thinking. It's the ability to step back, to observe our own thoughts and feelings without judgment, and to connect our experiences to our values. It's in that quiet, internal space that we build our identity. But when every microsecond of that space is filled with a new stimulus, our mind becomes a frantic, anxious machine, unable to hold a deep thought. The psychological danger here is that a mind that cannot think deeply seeks relief, not clarity, and it will seek that relief anywhere it can. Social media, binge eating, pornography shopping, even an obsession with productivity. These are all anesthetics for a tired mind. They provide a temporary escape from discomfort, but they never solve the underlying problem. This is the trap. Excessive stimulation prevents us from thinking deeply, and the absence of deep thought condemns us to repeat the same empty, unfulfilling patterns day after day. We become alienated from ourselves. Viktor Frankl perfectly described the solution to this alienation in one of the most powerful quotes in all of psychology. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. The entire business model of the modern digital world is to destroy that space, to make the time between stimulus and response as close to zero as possible, to turn you into a bundle of automatic reactions. Your feeling of being unmotivated is not a personal failure. It is the cry of a soul that has had its space to choose stolen from it. Part 3. The symptom of a deeper problem. So, if you feel stuck, if you feel a deep apathy you can't explain, I want you to consider a radical idea. What if your lack of motivation is not a weakness, but a protest? In a world obsessed with performance and productivity, we treat apathy as a personal flaw. We think we are broken. But what if the truth is the opposite? What if this feeling is actually a healthy, intelligent symptom of a soul suffocating on superficiality? Imagine a plant placed in poor soil and exposed to artificial 24-hour light. It will be weak, pale, and disconnected from its natural rhythm. To call that plant unmotivated would be absurd. We would recognize that its environment is sick. Your demotivation is the same thing. It's not that you don't want to act. It's that you are tired of acting without purpose. It's not that you lack strength. It's that you have exhausted your energy, trying to live a life that doesn't feel like your own. This feeling of being stuck is your mind and body sending you a critical message. We need to stop. We are running on the wrong fuel. As Viktor Frankl observed, when a person cannot find deep meaning in their life, they distract themselves with pleasure. But distraction is not fulfillment. And when the emptiness returns, because it always does, we realize the problem was never a lack of motion, but a lack of direction. The solution, then, is not to find a new productivity hack. It's not about forcing yourself to be motivated. It's about reconnection. And this is where Frankl's wisdom, forged in the fires of unimaginable suffering, becomes our guide. Part 4. Frankl's antidote to emptiness. In the concentration camps, Frankl witnessed the absolute worst of humanity. He saw people lose everything that makes up a life. And yet, he noticed something incredible. Some people managed to keep the spark of life alive. They weren't the physically strongest. They were the ones who still had a why. They had a clear purpose greater than their suffering. A child to see again, a book to finish writing, a value to uphold. This, he realized, was the deepest human drive, the will to meaning. This completely flips our modern idea of motivation on its head. We think we need to feel good to act. Frankl teaches us that we need to act with meaning to feel whole. He famously wrote, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." Our modern world gives us an endless supply of hows: how to be more productive, how to make more money, how to get more followers. But it is starving us of a genuine why. Your why doesn't need to be some grand, heroic mission. It can be found in 3 places. First, in creating a work or doing a deed. This is about your contribution to the world, your unique gift. Second, in experiencing something or encountering someone. This is about love, connection, and beauty. Third, in the attitude we take toward unavoidable suffering. This is about finding dignity and growth in our struggles. The lack of motivation you feel is a signal that your why has been buried under a mountain of shallow distractions. The first step to getting it back is not to add more to your life, but to subtract. Part 5. The power of silence, space, and discomfort. So how do we begin this journey of reconnection? It starts by embracing the 3 things our society has taught us to fear. First, silence. We have become deaf to our own inner voice because we never stop to listen. The call to meaning is not loud. It's a whisper. It can only be heard in the gaps between the noise. Your action step is simple. Schedule 5 minutes of genuine silence into your day. No phone, no music, no podcasts. Just you. At first, it will be uncomfortable, but in that silence, you will begin to hear what you've been avoiding. Second, space. Frankl's space between stimulus and response is your birthright. You must reclaim it. This means consciously creating moments of pause in your day. Your action step. When you feel the urge to pull out your phone while waiting in line or sitting at a red light, resist it. Just for a moment, look around, breathe. In that tiny act of resistance, you are rebuilding your power to choose. Third, discomfort. The discomfort you feel when you're not stimulated is not the enemy. It is the beginning of the healing process. It's a sign that you are stepping out of the matrix of automatic behavior. Your action step. The next time you feel bored, don't immediately run from it. Sit with the feeling for just 1 minute. Ask it, what are you trying to tell me? Boredom is often the doorway to your most authentic desires and creative ideas. This is not about radical, overnight change. It's about small, intentional acts of defiance against the culture of constant noise. It's about choosing to turn off the external world so you can finally begin to hear yourself. Viktor Frankl survived hell and emerged with a truth that is more urgent now than ever. Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms. To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Your lack of motivation is not a verdict. It is an invitation. An invitation to stop living on the surface and to dive into what is real. An invitation to choose your own way.